Hey guys, had some questions on hand filing chisel bit chain. Chisel bit filing, chisel bit chain. Thought I'd throw something together here in a video that maybe help you out. There's some really good videos out there. Steel made a really nice one a couple months ago, maybe last fall it came out. Great video in the sense that it shows the animation with the lines and the angles and all that sort of thing. Good stuff. But here's the sort of the snafu is the videos that I see. One, they're using a brand new bar, a brand new chain, and a brand new file, which is fine, works great. But when everything is new, it makes it easier. When things start to get used, that's when this hand filing can get a little harder. So I do things a little bit differently. In order to, one, maintain the life of these files as long as possible, this puppy was $9. I bought 3 of them. I didn't want a whole box. I don't use them. I use a grinder. But to make the video, $9. I think they're $7 to $8 a piece. Buy them by the box. You want to get as much life out of this as possible. So when you see the videos of the guys filing into the tooth from the outside in, keep in mind that $8 file is going into the chrome on your tooth. I was shown years ago, Soren Erickson showed us a long time ago, filing out of the tooth, actually coming from the inside and going out. So here's what I do. A couple things. One is you gotta, when you start doing this, just like round filing in the woods, your eye starts to find that spot where it's kind of comfortable to get your saw set up. You just kind of get to know that. So what I find is, you can see here my saw is setting against a log, bar up like this. So once I'm comfortable here, I start loosening the bar nuts up, tighten the chain up, tighter than what you run it at. Because one of the issues that happens with chisel bit filing is the tooth actually moving. So I got my little model here. If you can picture that file, if you start pushing on the file, whether you're going out or in, doesn't matter, and that tooth starts to move, it's going to be harder to keep that corner of your file in the corner of your tooth. And that's why I say when you got a new bar, new chain, new file, it's easier. But we all know you're going to start getting a little bit of play in your bar, okay, and that tooth starts to move around, and things get weird. So tighten the chain up. Then I move the tooth I'm going to sharpen right here, just before it starts to go around the tip of the bar. And that's where I find that it's the most secure. As I'm filing, I don't have that tooth moving on me. As I mentioned, I'm going out of the tooth, so I'm not filing into the chrome. And by looking into the tooth here from this direction, I can watch every stroke of my file. I can see what my file is cutting, and we want that proverbial corner to corner look. Right, that line that forms with that chisel bit file, the inside of the tooth. So maybe I can show you here. Right, look up those other videos and they're better at showing this, but you want to line that corner going from the corner of your tooth down into the bottom corner there. Here's where this is the most common problem I see folks doing with trying to hand file. What happens is, you could almost say it's not the fault of the user of the file, it's the file. So here's what happens. That file, if I can show you looking straight on, get over here in the daylight so you can see what I'm talking about. That point where those 2 small bevels come together, right on the top, right there, that's the first part of your file that's going to go dull, because it's the weakest part of your file, right? Just like an axe, right? If you got a really, really sharp axe, but there's no strength to the edge, you're going to lose that edge. Same thing with that file. That top corner, you're going to see that corner edge right there start to get shiny. When that happens, hey, go back to the model. I know it's not proportional, but you'll get the idea here. When you're filing in or out, doesn't matter. When you lose that corner of your file, it stops cutting steel right here. And once that file stops getting rid of that steel as you go across, when you're filing, the file, each stroke of your file will incrementally start to file upward. And it won't be getting rid of, let me do it here, right? You won't be getting rid of that steel. So as your file starts to walk up here, obviously it's going to start to walk up here. That's the problem, is trying to keep your file clean, in good shape, so that it stays down in where it's supposed to be. Once we lose that corner, what I see folks doing is they'll start to lean the file backwards. So as they're filing, you'll start to sort of, I call it, chase that cutting edge. And that's when your side plate angle, okay, which should lean forward 5 degrees, if you start chasing those two cutting edges, especially your top plate, right, you start chasing after that by leaning the file into it, your side plate angle is going to incrementally start to lean backwards. That happens, you can have sharp cutting edges, right? Your top and side plate can be sharp, but they're leaning backwards. Remember that the tooth does not travel in a straight line through the log. That point hooks into the fiber and the tooth rocks backwards slightly. So you can see that there. If you're starting with your side plate straight up and down, then when the tooth kicks backwards and is actually doing the cutting, you see where your side plate is actually leaning backwards. So have your side plate 5 degrees forward, hooks into the wood, you see where that comes back to 90 degrees to your bar, takes a chip out, and then it drops down. So the term they use is porpoising. That's how your chain goes through the wood. It's all hooked into your rivets, allows that tooth, or all of the teeth, to sort of porpoise, if you will, through the log. So hopefully that helps. Try going out of the tooth. And again, that key is to keep that tooth from moving. Each stroke of the file, watch what's happening, and then adjust ever so slightly as you see what you're doing. Hopefully that helps. Have a good day, guys.